I've seen so many pictures of just my team out sending me successes of leagues that they're supporting, them making up POS for countless centers. So there's a lot of successes.
Roxann, thanks so much for coming on today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation. I know this is one we've been talking about, for a while now.
Yeah.
So for the people who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, tell us a little bit about yourself, the company you're with, tell us who you are.
All right, cool. So I'm Roxann Diaz. I'm with Boston Beer Company. So Boston Beer, we represent brands like Angry Orchard, Sam Adams, Truly, Twisted Tea, and Dogfish Head. We also have 2 local breweries, Coney Island in New York and Angel City in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been with Boston Beer for 14 years. So I started on the East Coast, and now I live here in San Diego. And I've been working with BPAA on being the beer sponsor. So I kind of head up our sponsorship with BPAA. And I've been working with you guys really since 2020. So our sponsorship was supposed to start and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right. So we kind of kept rolling in. So it's been a good time.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't realize that they had so many of those large brands. It's really quite a conglomerate at this point.
Yeah. We have something for everybody.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear a little bit more, maybe, from that 2020 on some of the, programs or initiatives or how you've kind of led that sponsorship, because that seems to be a really fruitful partnership. I know it's one of the newer ones. Obviously, everybody knows the Pepsi one. This one seems to be a really cool one that you guys, you have a lot more to offer than some of the people I think realize.
Yeah. So thanks for asking that. And we had a lot of time to work on some of these sponsorships and programs because during COVID, just we had a lot of planning time. So one of the things that we first launched with and rolled with, pun intended, was branded beer balls. So we actually have beer balls that you can actually order a kit with POS to help promote the beer balls and doing like a branded beer ball league. So essentially we have, you can use it for each of our brands. So we have one for Angry Orchard, one for Sam Adams, one for all 5 of our brands. And the way we've seen it really successful is if, let's say you have like a 12-week league, you want to do a beer ball league, you essentially would incorporate the cost of the ball for each player within that. So if the ball costs, I think it's $75, you would take that $75 and divide it up by 12 weeks. And that's how they're essentially the bowler is paying for the ball.
Gotcha.
So it's really not a cost to the center. And really it's a fun promotion. We have also branded POS. So we have thematic bowling themed posters, banners, table tents that centers can order directly through our business asset management profile. And if they go through the BPAA website, they should be able to access it there.
Yes, because you guys provide a lot of, like, pretty much all the stuff you would need to promote it and get it out there. You guys provide for free, right?
Yeah, well, essentially, yeah. Well, we can print that kind of. We can help with printing. Sometimes a center will print themselves, or a wholesaler can help with that. But we also have a team that can help. So if, for example, if at Bowl Expo, I've had several proprietors come up to me and ask, how can I connect them with our local team? We've had a lot of success. If you reach out to us or reach out to Jay Tritley from BPAA, they can connect you with a Boston Beer rep. They'll basically connect you with me. I'll find the right Boston Beer person. They can set up a meeting with each bowling center manager and kind of see how we can support them, whether it's posters, signage, swag, whatever it is that they usually need. So that's one program. We also have hidden pins, so kind of like the colored pins for Truly and Twisted Tea. So essentially how those promos work is you would choose a night, let's say a Thursday night, maybe feature Twisted Tea, Twisted Thursday. And if the pin comes down, you don't know, it comes down randomly. They have to kind of let someone that works at the center know, hey, the Twisted Tea pin's down. They bowl a strike, they can win prizes and stuff. And
That's cool.
Some of the centers have done spin wheels, which is kind of cool. So you can do like a discounted food item or a free bowling game. So it kind of gets people back into the centers.
Right.
And we can also help with like koozies, sunglasses, small little things that can kind of just be fun as well.
Yeah, just like some swag and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
Two. And then, sorry, the last one, because we have a lot. So
that's why we're here. We want to go through them.
I'm a little chatty. So the last one, which I'm super excited about, is our branded jerseys. So this one we have for all of our brands. This is our Twisted Tea one. And this has been so far, this was actually a lot of proprietors. We were asking feedback on what other programs they would want. And this was the most requested one that I've gotten in the market. So we've had a lot of success. I've had a lot of pictures come through. We've had like 5 different teams all wearing different branded jerseys. So super fun and engaging program. So excited for that as well.
So, how's that program work? Is that like the kind of like the have a ball but with a jersey, or what's the difference?
Yeah, I would say very similar to the branded beer balls. So if they wanted to do jersey leagues again, so they can do jersey leagues, and all the league players for each team could be like a team Twisted, or we have Sam Adams. We have those for all 5 of our brands as well. So it's the same thing. The cost of the jerseys is only $35. So, and the same thing, if it's a 4-week league or 8-week league, you would just take that cost and divide it up. And most people are really super excited to get.
Yeah, that's super cool. So we have the jersey, the ball, and then you said the other one was the second one. What was that again?
The pins. So
that's right.
Yeah, the pins we have right now just for Twisted Tea and for Truly. So we have 2 different ones. The Truly one's like a green pen, and the Twisted is a bright yellow pen.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'd love to hear a little bit, maybe some, maybe not a case study, but success stories or some of the people you hear who are doing really well with these. I'd love to hear maybe some of the things that they're doing, or a little bit of feedback, or, experience about the people who actually put these into practice. Because I think it's out there for everybody, right? But only so many people are doing it. Tell me about the people who are crushing it, or how they're crushing it, like who's doing it well.
Yeah, so I know I think you actually did a podcast with Tanya.
Yeah, of course.
From Oregon as well. So she did a Truly pin night, and she did a really fantastic job promoting it through her social media and getting people excited and hyped up with videos and sending out messaging and getting people to sign up. And she's had a lot of success because it's not just what we provide, but then also kind of what you take from there on your end as well to help promote it. So I think she's done a fantastic job just creating excitement and just getting people excited to sign up for it at her center as well.
Okay. Yeah. So you got to do a good job of promoting it, getting out there. What about anything like you're seeing, like, do you guys help the centers kind of start it, or give them a template of how to promote it? Or like if someone's interested in one of these, what's the first thing that they should do?
Yeah, I would say really, and I direct our team when we're out selling in the market. I usually would direct them to Jay Tritley from Strike 10 Marketing.
Right.
Because what he can do is get them set up with a kit. And the kit will include posters, signage, even like case cards that you can put on the top of a counter to show like how to sign up and how to get people to sign up. Because we can send posters in and we can get stuff, from our team and say like, hey, we're featuring Truly, for example, for a Truly pin night. And we can help, with like bucket features, or if you have it on draft, or like special prices and stuff like that to help sell more Truly for these events. But the events are only going to be successful if you promote them. And so by promoting them, like I said, it's at center. So having visibility in your center, like ask us how to sign up for Truly Pin Night or whatnot, or how to be part of that. And I think also, potentially, going to out in your community, maybe going to local restaurants or local bars, or, wherever you would want to invite bowlers in, maybe handing out flyers, because I think we can also create flyers for you, for people to sign up or come in and promote it. So I think it's really just letting people know what you're doing and then getting them excited about it.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So then, like you said, promoting it. What about like operating the league? Do you guys have any like template for that, or everyone can kind of do their own rules, or like, what does that look like for these programs?
So I think that it's going to just kind of vary by center. Kind of what you guys already, a lot of centers already have leagues going on, and so really this is just a way to help enhance it and create excitement. I do know that we have like a how-to guide that we can send with like details of like how to lay it out, if you're doing this many weeks, what you would charge. So there are how-to guides and again, that's, I'd say, a huge resource besides Boston Beer is Strike 10 Marketing. They're really fantastic. And Jay Tritley, he's my buddy. I mean, we talk all the time. He is so quick to respond. So I highly would encourage anyone, if they're not reaching out, like this is what we're here for, right? We want to help you guys. For me, we want to help you sell more beer. Right. And Strike 10, they just want to help make sure you're successful and have all the tools that you need. So it's a great blended partnerships. So I feel like there's a lot of resources to be had, and the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So you just reach out, and I would say the best place is Strike 10 marketing for sure.
Yeah,
and connect with us too.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a lot of times they see, like the promotions that Strike 10 does, like, like the Macy's Day Parade and all that stuff. They forget that they have these treasure trove of resources. Like they have, bank of content, but also like that sounds like a really good piece to have. I didn't even know they had it, was the how to set up one of these leagues guides.
Yeah, exactly. It's like detailed step by step. Like we have kind of like a 2-sided flyer. And I could certainly share some of these with you, Forrest, and if you can put maybe on your website.
I'll link it in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah. And on there, it'll have like Jay's contact info as well. But on the how-to, it kind of shows the POS that we have available and that kind of stuff. But if you need a more detailed guide, again, I would just reach out to Strike 10.
Yeah. Yeah, that's critical. Because, we can get people excited, but they got to have a good experience when they're there, right? That's where the rubber meets the road. So it's cool that you guys have that in place.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just, really getting your team behind it is what I would always recommend. If you have staff that's helping promote it and create excitement, if you choose, for example, to do your league nights or like the hidden pin nights, a night maybe if you don't, or if you do have a DJ that can help promote it, that makes it fun. Or if you have a really outgoing bartender or someone who is not afraid to get on a microphone to help promote it, it just creates excitement. And that, to me, that's what makes it fun and engaging. So I think, again, we can give you the tools, but it's kind of how you take these tools and what you do with them.
Right. Yeah, I think you got to have a lot of like excitement and promotion on these because they're less about like the sport. I think maybe not all of them, but it's more about, the social component, right? You're trying to get them to drink some more beer and have fun with their friends. So it's really about getting them, excited to have fun rather than just purely, you got to have that to rely on that versus maybe the competitive aspect.
Yep. Exactly. And drinking beer, this is where we're the perfect pairing because bowling equals fun and beer and, our products equals fun. So it's a really perfect pairing for bowling.
Right. Absolutely. Any other examples of people you're seeing who are crushing it with these types of leagues or promotions, the programs you guys have?
Nothing specific for me to call out. I've seen so many pictures of just my team out sending me successes of leagues that they're supporting, them making up POS for countless centers. So there's a lot of successes. But I think, again, it's just driving the visibility and letting people know that you're doing them with signage is a big way to help promote it. And, again, our team's here to help. So I think, those that reach out, if we can connect you with a Boston beer rep to help and really kind of where we fit in above and beyond like a distributor, like distributors are essentially providing the beer. They're doing the orders for the centers.
Sure.
But where we can add value is helping like individual needs with, like I said, swag and like just kind of helping with like custom signage or kind of every center is going to be different, right? What they want to push and what they're promoting. If you're trying to push any food items, we can even do like beer pairings and create signage for you. So like we can help in a lot of ways. But it's really, again, those that reach out and let us kind of show you what we can do is the biggest thing, right? So just kind of reaching out and letting us connect.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually, because I think, I'm asking about what's working broadly, but you're saying it's a very specific kind of way that you're able to help most people. Like what works for one center might not necessarily translate, but if they can reach out to you, you can kind of coach them through, hey, let's try some of these in your center.
Yeah, and I think from like a beer perspective, and like how to sell more beer, something we've seen a lot of success with is bucket specials and bucket promotions.
Yeah.
I think something that we were trying to help solve and help provide some support for coming out of COVID is like ease of service and like quick service, being like short staffed. I think we're still struggling a little bit. It's a lot better now, but we're still struggling with like staffing. So kind of like how can you provide the offerings that are going to be the easiest for your bartenders and your staff to be able to sell and get out and for you guys to make more money, right? Trade up. So I think that's kind of where we come in because we're craft beer and we are leaders in beyond beer, which is kind of like your ciders, your seltzers, and your FMBs, which is a flavored malt beverage with twisted tea. And like ready to drink or RTDs, ready to drink cocktails have been really big as well.
Yeah.
And we play in that area as well with Dogfish Head. We have canned cocktails.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and they're very popular. At Bowl Expo, I would say Twisted Tea and Truly and Dogfish Head canned cocktails. And but we're a beer company, right? Boston beer. Now it's kind of like Boston Beyond beer.
Boston beverages.
So many products. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really helps with like ease of service, and then also just selling more beer, right? So just kind of bucket specials, getting it on feature, potentially doing pitchers if you have us on draft. Those are types of ways that you can, get people in, because people always want to know where's a good special, where's a good happy hour, right? Like, where can I go where maybe it's like a fun activity, but where they know that they're going to have a good price special that drives people in. And so that could be a great way to tie in with some of these programs, is doing like featured beers, that you're kind of showcasing, hopefully Boston beer.
Right. Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's actually a perfect transition, because I wanted to shift gears and talk a little bit about what you see in the, beyond beverage market, in the beer market, kind of what's popular today, what you see selling, what's really hitting home with people. I'd love to hear, kind of, market report, quote unquote.
Yeah. So if you kind of look overall in the beer industry, kind of the landscape, it's shifted a lot in the last 5 years. And really what's growing in beer is beyond beer. That is like what's growing the most. It's exponentially growing. And as I mentioned, beyond beer, that includes your FMBs, which is a flavored malt beverage, and twisted tea would be the leader in tea. And that, so twisted tea, we have about 98% market share of tea, of the tea market.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of new hard teas coming out there, but twisted tea is, if you're going to carry a hard tea, it's twisted tea. That's what people are asking for.
Right.
Also in Beyond Beer are your seltzers, and we have Truly. So we have the number 2 seltzer, and it's huge. If you took Truly and Twisted Tea, and I kind of told you all the other brands we carry, it makes up about 80% of what we sell.
Wow.
It's Truly and Twisted Tea. And we have Sam Adams, and we have Angry Orchard. We have some very large brands.
So they're exploding.
Yeah, and then the RTDs are included in that as well. And that's another area it's hugely growing.
Up and coming.
If you look at beer specifically, what's growing in beer, non-alcs is actually growing. So it's a smaller base, but it's actually an area that is growing right now very fast. I'd say it's the second or third fastest growing category in beer right now. And then imports. Imports are definitely growing, and a lot of that's being driven by Modelo. And I'm sure your son will agree with that. And it's not just, I'm in Southern California. It's not just Southern California.
What do you think that is?
It's interesting. It's younger drinkers, and they're maybe looking for a little more flavor, but like just, I don't understand. It's crazy, but Modelo, and just, that's really what's driving the imports. And it's one of those things where if I'm walking in and I work for Boston Beer, and, I do national accounts, and, of course I'm going to make some recommendations on what products from us you should carry. But if you're not carrying Modelo or a very strong import, if you're not carrying a light beer, that's something that you could be missing on opportunity, because you'll lose guest satisfaction. So those are some of the things that it's very important to have, like a balanced portfolio and a balanced lineup.
Right.
But yeah, it is crazy that really that import will continue to grow, but it's kind of like the trendy hipster kind of cool thing now, Modelo.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, can't go wrong with that one. What about, the seltzer? I know we talked about that a bit. It seemed like a year or two ago that was like off the charts, all the rage. That's like completely taking over. Is that cooled off a little bit, or still on track? Or I just don't hear as much about that, the growth about those.
Yeah, I mean, seltzer itself, hard seltzer in general, is a huge category. And, yes, I'd say 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I mean, it was exponentially skyrocketing. So there's only so many years you can have of this growth. And so right now, what we're seeing is like a stabilization. So with any brand, when you launch a brand, you have success, it's going to kind of drive, up sales, and then it kind of stabilizes. So we're kind of at that stabilizing point right now. And as a company, we are the innovators in the seltzer category, and we really came out with more full flavored seltzers. But when you look at the majority of what's selling within seltzer, it's your hint of flavor. So, and for us, we're putting a lot of focus now, a lot of our advertising, a lot of our innovation is going to be in that hint of flavor, because that's really where 90% of the seltzer drinkers are.
And so you say hint of flavor, that's like a lower flavor profile, or describe that a little bit for me.
Yeah. So for example, people that are familiar with Truly, are white cans. It's going to be a hint of flavor. So it's going to be a little less sweet. I would say the flavor profile is almost more similar to like a LaCroix or like a soda water with a hint of flavor.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's hint of flavor. For us, our kind of more colored cans. So like our lemonade lineup, they're black cans. Those are going to have a sweeter, kind of more bolder flavor. We have a punch line, like punch, like tropical punch, fruit punch. Those are going to have a sweeter profile. They're still going to have, I think part of what drove seltzer in general, like what kind of really made it hot and go crazy in the first place was the health aspect of it.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, ours are fermented cane sugar. So we don't use any malt or it's gluten-free.
Yeah.
Not all seltzers are gluten-free. So you have to kind of like make sure you're reading labels and understand that. But Truly is, it's a fermented cane sugar versus like a malt base.
Okay.
And they're all 5% alcohol. They have about 2 grams of sugar, so they're keto friendly. So I think, and they're 5% alcohol. So I think people, when this first came out and they didn't really understand and know what it was, none of us knew. I thought it was like April Fools when we found out we're launching Truly, a hard soda water. I thought it was a joke. But it's because we really, no one even understood like how amazing this is, because you can drink something after having a workout and not feel guilty. And you can be on a keto diet and you're not cheating if you have a Truly. And so I think that's kind of what really drove a lot of excitement around it, and just kind of like a lot of people trialing it. I think we also captured a lot of light drinkers. And if you look at beer overall, I mean, light beer, even though it's not growing like it used to, it's still huge of what, the majority of what's being sold in beer. And so we kind of were taking some of that market with Truly. And so it's still a huge market. And so yes, it's kind of stabilizing, but it's still massive.
Yeah,
it
wasn't still a big one.
Yeah, it's not a trend. It's here to stay. But kind of finding a
Yeah, and I think the other aspect of it is, I think maybe even calories is slightly lower compared to, maybe not some of the light beers or comparable stuff, but compared to an IPA or something, it's probably half or less than
100
half.
calories. Yeah, 100 calories in a 12-ounce can. So
which you really can't get anything below that with alcohol. For that serving of alcohol, the calories are all just from the alcohol, so you can't really get below that.
Yeah,
without
exactly.
sacrificing it.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make sure if you want it to taste good.
Right. Yeah, you're kind of committed to that. Very cool.
Something that's cool about Truly and Twisted Tea is we actually have it on draft.
Really?
Yeah. So you can pour it on tap, and they will be your most profitable kegs. And by that, I mean, you're not wasting any of your keg to foam. And that's a big, basically it's the most profitable because you just, how many ounces.
Least waste.
Yeah. How many ounces are being poured out? If you look at, how many ounces per keg and you multiply that by how many months in a year, how much are you glued to foam?
Yeah, so I was just in a main event and just at one of these state associations I was talking about, and it must have been a newer bartender. She was pulling the keg or the tap from the top, and it was half foam. And I'm like, hey, all you got to do is pull from the bottom, and you're going to save your employer a ton of money.
And you just see it dumping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she tried it 3 times, and I'm sure she was doing it all day. From the bottom.
And that actually kind of reminds me of something too, another resource that Boston Beer does have that I believe is not being tapped into nearly enough, is we have a digital training assets. So we actually have, and again, for anyone that wants to get connected, and I can also send you information about how to sign up for it. But we have digital education that centers can actually roll out to their servers and bartenders. You can access it from your phone. And we have topics on how to pour beer properly. So that's on there. We have basically talking about beer and food, talking about the differences between ales versus lagers, the brewing process, even just describing our beers and tasting notes of any of the Boston Beer products that any of the centers are carrying. There's a whole plethora of just videos that are already here and exist. That, I know Jay, again, is a huge fan of it, Jay Tritley at Strike 10. And we push it out in the newsletters that go out. We always have links in that. So I'll make sure that it's included in the next one that goes out. But just, I think that's a tool that I think it's at your disposal. All you have to do is just click and sign up and use that to help educate your staff.
Yeah, that's really valuable. And I know the BPAA, that's their major push right now is the education front. So they're even paying people, paying centers for every educational piece that their employees take. So I know that's a big push. It'd be really helpful because I think a lot of these times it's, the people who work at the bowling centers tend to be a bit younger crowd, not always, but on average, it could be a first job or a job through high school. That's just stuff they shouldn't know because they're not drinking. They shouldn't even know it. But it's something that you come in, you can learn it. It really ups your game as you're providing service.
Exactly. So, and then helps give them talking points on how to upsell, right?
Exactly.
If you upsell to a craft beer, or at this point beyond beer, it's a trade up from light beer, and you're making more money on that. And if a server or bartender is selling 3 or 4 Twisted Teas versus 3 or 4 Coors Lights or Bud Lights, they're going to be making extra tips, and then there's more cash in the drawer, right? So at the end of the day, upselling is a way to kind of increase your profitability with the people that you have coming in your centers. I know people want to know, okay, how do I bring more people in? But now that you have people in there, how do you drive the most sales while they're in there? And craft beer and beyond beer is really a great way to do that, because we're extremely profitable. So
and I cut you off about the profitability of the kegs with the Twisted. So you're saying that those have the most profit because they're the highest utilization rates, and then because I feel like that's probably something that it's a no-brainer. Like, yeah, you could do those, but I feel like not a lot of people probably do have them.
Yeah, I think we're getting a lot more centers through our exposure at state shows and Summit and Bowl Expo that are signing up for it and seeing the value in putting it on draft. I would say also another selling point of having it on draft is you can do simple mixology, like an ad shot. So, for Twisted Tea, if you have a flavored whiskey, like a peach whiskey or a peach vodka or a citrus vodka, it's a shot and a beer. And that's always good. It's that trade up value.
Yeah.
People would take a shot and shoot it, or you can serve it over ice and just pour the shot in. So it's, again, quick ease of service. You're not trying to like reinvent the book with, fancy cocktails. It's a bowling center, right? So, how can your bartender get the most ring out of that customer, the bowler who's coming in there? How can they get them, to spend that extra, $2-3? It's an ad, could be an ad shot with the tea. And truly, so we actually have books of mixology with some ideas. So if anyone wants access to that as well, we can provide links, and I'll make sure that Jay has that available as well on the Strike 10 website.
You guys got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But that's a great point, because it's almost like that, McDonald's, the whole famous thing of, do you want to supersize that? It's like, hey, do you want to add a shot to this? And that's easy yes, no question that is going to, could 50% more of the sale price just from one little question.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Anything else you're seeing in the market you think is notable that proprietors should know about?
Again, I mentioned the non-alc, and I actually did want to touch on that because we actually have a non-alc beer. It's called Just the Haze with Sam Adams. We actually won gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival for the best non-alc beer in America. This past year. So super excited for that. And it's something that I've had a lot of success with. Again, I call on national chains. We've been getting a ton of new placements of that. So something I would recommend for any center, if you don't have non-alc beer, it's a miss. So whether it's us or someone else, I would recommend carrying a non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Of course, being the official beer sponsor of bowling and BPAA, we hope that it would be our Sam Adams. But the feedback on the beer and kind of what we're seeing in non-alc is similar to what we saw happen in the beer industry in the 80s. So if you think of non-alc, it used to be just like your yellow beer. So we're talking like O'Doul's or St. Right? So just kind of like your yellow, kind of easy drinking beer. Then we saw like the imports come in, like Heineken Zero, which is a huge one. Right? So then we start to see that kind of pick up a little bit. And now within the last couple of years, you're seeing people are looking for more flavor. People are choosing a non-alc beer, not because they just don't drink beer at all, or they don't drink, it's not just people that don't drink at all that are drinking non-alc beers. Who's drinking non-alc beers are some of our younger consumers who want to be able to maybe have a beer and maybe be able to drink, a few throughout the night. So it's kind of like their pacer beer. A lot of the younger youth, they're kind of looking at like healthier alternatives. So like, even though it's not necessarily like a Truly or like a low calorie option, it's a healthier choice than drinking beer all night, but they don't want to sacrifice the flavor. And so we're seeing that what's really driving the growth of non-alc beers that I mentioned earlier is these craft non-alc beers. And our Sam Adams Just the Haze, if anyone hasn't tried it, please reach out to your distributor or your local Boston beer rep to get you a sample. Because if you try it, and if I didn't tell you it was a non-alc beer, you would think you're drinking an IPA, like a hazy IPA. It is phenomenal. It's delicious. I love beer. It's so good. But I kind of want to have a little kick when I'm drinking a beer, because if I'm going to have if I'm going to have the calories, then I want to get the buzz as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But not everybody's that way. And so it's something that I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, that the non-alc opportunity, and that your center should be carrying that as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I feel like, before, just having some kind of non-alcoholic beer, it's just, you kind of get what you get, right? You name those two options, like that's all you get. You wouldn't expect to get more, but now people are like, hey, if it's there, I want something, I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think kind of a misconception that maybe some of our retailers and operators might have is that non-alc beer doesn't sell, but then they need to reevaluate what is it you're carrying. Because if you're having Duels or St. Pauli's Girl, like, you're probably missing, like, a younger drinker who's looking for a full flavored non-alc is probably not going to order that. They're just probably like, I'm not going to waste my money on that, because you can charge what you're charging for your beers. So I would basically encourage, operators to really understand, if it's not selling, why, what are you carrying, and maybe consider trying a full flavored craft.
And what do you think a trial would consist of that? Just put a few cases and try it, or
and
what would be a true test?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I would say the beautiful thing about packaged beer is it's not a lifetime commitment. Right? We're not asking for precious real estate like a draft line. I know your draft lines are your money makers. It's really bringing in a couple cases, but letting people know you have it. So if you have a drink list, making sure it's listed on your drink list. If you don't display your packaged beer, I'd highly recommend that you do. So like, just because when people walk up to your bar, they're looking at your draft lineup to see what you have. They're not necessarily going to know what you have in package unless you have it prominently displayed, right behind the back, above, or you have a drink list. And I would call it out at this point and make sure that you have it called out on your drink list. Another recommendation we also have with drink lists is having a special section that says, maybe you have a beer section, and then maybe a beyond beer section, and then maybe like your non-alc. And this is something I've been recommending to a lot of my chain partners, because I think they're always trying to figure out, where do we put this? And, there's been, I work for the company, right? I work for Boston Beer, and I'll be looking on a menu for like Angry Orchard or Truly. And if they have it listed with all the beer, sometimes it's hard to find. Like, I'm looking for it, and I know they have it. And I'm like, wait, where is it on the list? But if you have a section that says beer, and you have a section that says beyond beer, and a section that's, your non-alc beer, it can make it easier for your drinkers to shop. And again, just more likely to get that purchase versus something that you might miss because they didn't know that you have it.
Yeah. I mean, even just talking to you about kind of how you guys categorize them is kind of opening my eyes. Like, all right, here's the different categories. Because a lot of times it's just list, and it's just everything straight down there, alphabetical, and it's hard to find what you're looking for just based off of that. But break into those three categories.
Yep, super helpful. Especially, you think of like a place like Yard House. You go into Yard House and they have like 100 draft lines.
Right.
They don't know beer. They're walking in and they're so confused. They'll be like, I'll have a Coors Light while I'm thinking about what the next beer is, but I just don't want to be looking this whole time. Yeah. Same thing. You make the menu shoppable to help increase your sales and satisfaction of your drinkers.
Yeah. Well, and you don't want to be in a line and you don't know what you want and everyone's behind you giving you dagger eyes. Like, just keep going,
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, I know we're coming up to the top of the hour. I do want to be respectful of your time. So I wanted to just finish out asking you one more question of just maybe where you see things going next. Obviously, no one has a crystal ball, but maybe the next 12 months or so, where do you see things going in the alcoholic beverage space?
I can tell you this, it's going to be definitely in the beyond beer category, where you're going to still see a ton of innovation coming in. So I think a lot of the innovation is going to be coming in from beyond beer and RTDs, your ready to drinks, is really, which is kind of crazy because that's now in a different category. RTDs are like spirits.
Right.
It's definitely not beer, but we're keeping a close eye on it and we're playing in that as well, because that is the area of growth. And so I know bowling is a unique on-premise proposition where RTDs do make sense. It might not make sense in all of your restaurants and bars, right? But in bowling centers, it does. So I would keep an eye on that and make sure that you're you're playing in that area. And again, it's because it's quick ease of service,
Right.
and it's profitability.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's certain legal classifications per state too, I think, where some people might not be able to do cocktails, but they can serve one of these things. So I think it varies by state, but I think that's a really critical point for some of these guys who might not have a full liquor license to have something very adjacent to be able to offer.
Yeah, if they don't have a full liquor license, they won't be able to carry the spirits-based canned cocktails, but something like a twisted tea or Truly, that kind of helps kind of fill that void, kind of makes you feel like you're having almost like a cocktail. So like that's versus beer. So you know what I mean? So if people can't, because not everybody wants to drink a beer.
Right.
So to make sure that you're getting the sales and satisfying all of your, guests that are coming in, you want to make sure that you're playing in all the right spaces. But I would keep, that's where our eyes at. And, we're looking at a lot of innovation. We're testing, we actually just launched a Truly vodka soda this year. So that's new for us. Huge, because with the name Truly behind it. And we're actually testing right now Truly tequila soda. I had my first sample yesterday, and it was incredible.
It sounds good. Yeah. It sounds really good.
But it's crazy because I never thought when I started with Boston beer, it was like Sam Adams when I started. We had Twisted Tea.
Yeah.
We had Twisted Tea then too, but I never thought I'd be selling liquor as well. Now I'm, but it's kind of cool because now I can, I have everything for my friends too. It's great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You can bring the party. Right. Yeah, it's really cool and interesting. That seems to be, I've heard that a couple of different times. That's really like the next hard seltzer kind of area is in that space.
Yeah, it is. And it's, you can charge more for them. People will pay more for them, and just, it saves some time. So again, for bowling, it's a great proposition.
Right.
So.
Yeah, especially with the volume.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun, extremely informative to me. I've learned a lot here. So I appreciate you coming on, Roxann, and I'm sure that others are going to learn too. If anyone wants to reach out to you or learn more about what you guys have to offer, what's the best way to get in touch?
I can provide my email. It's, or do you want me to just provide it right now? Or?
Yeah. We'll put it in the show notes too.
Sure. So it's Roxann, no E, so ROXANN DIAZ at bostonbeer.com.
Awesome.
So that's the best way to contact me. And I'll make sure if you're looking to reach out to your local Boston beer person, I'll make sure I get you connected with the right person.
Perfect. Yeah. Very generous of you. Thank you. And, obviously Roxann's a wealth of knowledge, so do reach out to her.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, yeah, this has been a lot of fun, Roxann. I'm hoping or excited to see you again at the next show, and we'll link up soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have a beer.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, thanks.
Well, cheers.